So my presentation is going to be on quinceañeras, specifically the evolution of quinceañeras and what is a typical modern day quinceañera. So a quinceañera is a celebration to mark a woman's transition to adulthood. Quinceañera's origins particularly draw upon pre-Columbian era, mainly in Mexico, with regards to like the Aztecs and the ceremonies there. The exact origins of a quinceañera is largely unknown. There's a lot of speculation regarding where it could come from. A lot of people think it's from the Aztecs because they had a lot of aging rituals that were ceremonies essentially to mark important eras of your life. And then there's also those who attribute the ceremony from imperialist Spanish culture, specifically due to the Catholic religious aspects of a quinceañera and the emphasis traditionally on a woman's eligibility for marriage. Back in the day when 15 was eligible for marriage, as that's when a quinceañera is. It's for a girl turning 15 years old. Now, quinceañeras in the United States, in comparison to other Latin countries, is a relatively new concept, and it has only become more common since the 1960s, I believe the late 1960s, because the Latin American population of the United States obviously wasn't as concentrated before, but due to increased migration in the 60s, they brought these practices with them and it became more commonly found in the United States, still mainly only found in heavily Hispanic populated areas like California, Miami, that kind of thing. Now, a more traditional quinceañera is, even by today's standards, would begin with a mass service at a Catholic church that would only include the quinceañera, her family, her court, and her padrinos, which padrinos is Spanish for godparents. Godparents in Hispanic families, they mean more. They're more significant, culturally significant, and Hispanic families, mainly because they're seen as almost like co-parents to the child. They're not just like a written in the will kind of thing. It's a every day, every holiday, every life occasion, padrinos will be there, celebrate, contribute money to it, that sort of thing. My parents are the padrinos to my little cousin Izzy. I missed classes last week because it was her quinceañera, which kind of inspired this speech. But nowadays, rather than starting with a Catholic service and then moving on to a reception, kind of like they do with weddings, quinceañeras more or less start at the reception. And the more religious aspect of it is they'll lead a prayer before any courses of food are served. Now, it gets a little bit confusing when it comes to the terminology of a quinceañera, mainly because there's a few different terms, and the celebration itself, the quinceañera, is sometimes called the fiesta de quinceañera, which means party of the quinceañera, because quinceañera is supposedly supposed to be only used to reference the birthday girl, but that's really more of like a Spaniard custom, and my family's from Latin America, so a quinceañera is the party. It's kind of used interchangeably, which is also very common for other Latin American countries. So my cousin Izzy, who recently had her quinceañera, or you can call it a quince for short, this past week in California, she would be considered the quinceañera. And then, traditionally speaking, most quinceañeras wear white or pink ball gowns, mainly like regarding like virtue, kind of like how weddings you're supposed to wear white is the same kind of concept of like virtuous. But in like the past few decades, quinceañeras choose from a variety of colors. Some choose different patterns because they make themes and things like that. The only thing that's really stayed common for them has been like the shape. I mean, I can't get my PowerPoint to work, but here's a picture. This is my cousin Izzy. So this ball gown shape is a like traditional quinceañera dress. They're these humongous Cinderella dresses, which are what is common and still to this day used in modern practices. Now, the second thing to know about quinceañeras is a quinceañera's court. So like a wedding where one has bridesmaids and groomsmen, the quinceañera will have something called damas, which mean maids of honor, and chamblans, which are chamberlains, is the translation to English, but that kind of translates to like servants to royalty. So think like best man-esque kind of thing. Traditionally, quinceañera's court is you're supposed to have 7 damas and 7 chamblans, but nowadays, the amount of damas or chamblans, or even having a court only of one or the other, has become a lot more popular, depending on the quinceañera's friend group, or basically who they want to include. It can be a lot smaller or larger. Anyone the quinceañeras feels like is significant enough in their age group among their peers that they would want to include in because they would be included in all of the prep for the quinceañera, rehearsals, and other events throughout the night. They basically stick to and tend to the quinceañera for the entire party. And then there's also a choreographed dance portion of the night carried out by the quinceañera's court and their family for the baile sorpresa, which translates to surprise dance. So it really is like the people in the court and sometimes close family members will choreograph this whole big dance and like a celebration of the quinceañera. Sometimes they're included, sometimes they're not. But the whole thing is meant to be, the baile sorpresa is also meant to be more modern. In contrast to the father-daughter dance, which usually occurs, which is like a waltz type of dance between the father and the daughter, to kind of like signify her transition. The baile sorpresa is meant to be a little bit more modern and to like cater towards the quinceañera's age group and like the music that they would listen to. So my cousin Izzy and my cousin Vanessa and Sasha and her damas, which I think she had like 15 of them, they did a choreographed dance to a Bad Bunny song. And I don't have the PowerPoint, but this is her court. The damas all wear the exact same outfit, same shoes, same hair, same decoration. Everything is supposed to be identical between them all to kind of like signify their equal role in the quinceañera's life. And that is modern day quinceañeras. Any questions? Audience of no one? Okay.